Hi, my project was bringing the teaching styles of the islands and incorporating them into the modern day classroom. As a future music educator, I really loved doing this project because I hope that one day I can use the information I found from personal experience of teaching in different learning settings and bring it back into my classroom, and hopefully my students will really thrive from the information that I found. So behind me are my steel drums at my high school, and we're so lucky to have such an enormous amount of these pans. So to give you some of the background about steel drums, first of all, I play in a professional steel band, so I've heard this story time and time again. So these instruments are actually made out of 55-gallon barrels. So post-World War II, America was dumping all of their oil barrels, which are 55-gallon barrels, into the Atlantic Ocean. So all of these ended up washing out onto the shores of Trinidad and Tobago, a island country off the coast of South America. So these pans came up, and teenagers on the islands didn't really have much else to do during the time period, so they started mending and molding them, and they actually became the fathers of the modern day pan. Some of these people that we look to would be Cliff Alexis or Ellie Minette. So these steel drums, we have different levels, so we have leads, doubles, cellos, and basses. But the real thing that I wanted to find with my project was how to bring a non-traditional approach to the Western music style of our classrooms in America to a modern day classroom. So how do I approach teaching steel drums into a classroom? How do I bring world percussion into an elementary school classroom? So I did some research, firsthand evidence from different teaching opportunities that I've been lucky enough to have, and I brought them back to write some essays and hopefully publish them and one day gain some funding so schools across the country can have steel band programs and they can have world percussion ensembles. So the thing about island teaching that's so different from our Western style of teaching is one concept: rote teaching. So rote teaching is actually teaching by ear. Anyone who doesn't formally play an instrument has probably used rote teaching at some point to play an easy tune on an instrument such as piano, but these melodic instruments can be used for so much more. So especially on the steel drums, we use rote teaching for more complex rhythms and figures in music. Whereas in a concert band setting, you'd have to go through all of your instruments with piccolo, flute, oboe, bassoon, clarinet, trumpet, and the list goes on. And teaching every single instrument their individual part is just completely impractical. Whereas for the steel drums, music already increases your memorization skills. So that's why steel pans try to rope that in and bring it to you with rote teaching. So this is just a new concept that we haven't really been a big fan of in the past because it's very time consuming, and if someone forgets their part, then there's really no way to go back and find it. Whereas if we have music written out, then we can just look back in the score and figure out a rhythm or notation. But with steel drums, it's a little bit different. And especially with world drumming, as I've experienced in different middle school classrooms and even in my own high school classroom doing peer teaching, rote teaching is definitely the way to go. And this style of teaching needs to be shown to all teachers who are giving their students a proper music education in America. I believe that this type of education will bring them such a high level of competence in their memorization, their linguistic skills, and their artistic ability. So I think that we can all refer back to Albert Einstein's saying of, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will believe that it is stupid for its whole life. I really believe that music brings students this opportunity to have a different learning style and to kind of cross over the barriers that other subjects may present for them. So personally, math and science are not my strong suits, and I would go through classes just thinking that I could not learn or I was lower in my class, when this is certainly not the case. Music provides a different breakthrough for students that they need. Students who participate in music education formally through high school are 3 times more likely to graduate than those who don't. This being said, music education is crucial in a student's formal education opportunities. Without music education, students won't be able to get where they need to be in life. And I know that without the steel drums or other world percussion equipment in my school, I wouldn't have had nearly as many opportunities as I now have. I could go to school and confidently say that I was pursuing a music minor in world music, and I know that I could do this because of the styles that I've learned from rote teaching, and that's just amazing to me. So also, kids everywhere can be changed for the better with this style of teaching. Even within music itself, as I've referred to different teaching styles of core subjects such as math and science versus music, in the music category, there's a concert band setting. We have fife and drum at my school, world drumming, steel band, concert choir, orchestra. These are all different learning styles that are used in these classes. We wouldn't sit around and clap a rhythm if you were just going to play it back on a world drum. You would just play on the drum. If that makes complete sense to you, then I think that the steel drum opportunity should make sense also. Steel drums bring such a new concept of teaching into the classroom, and I really love the fact that students who may not be getting the right education in other core classes can take the steel drum and play a melody that they feel in their hearts and just bring it to life. Steel drums are from a personal standpoint, one of the most musical instruments I've ever heard in my life. I think that they're so melodic, so beautiful, and they just bring across such an air of elegance with them, along with a pinging high melody. Steel drums are like no other, and I am so grateful to be able to present this opportunity of teaching in different classrooms. I went to my former middle school and taught a lesson on rote teaching with world drumming, and the students took to it so easily. I found that instead of asking questions such as, what's the rhythm? Or what is the note there? I think it's a B flat, but it might be a B natural. Instead of those really nitpicking questions, the students were expanding their horizons and asking questions such as, what if we did this here? What if we added a crescendo? What if we did a slight acceleration here and a accelerando? These students were bringing musical terms, and they weren't even realizing that they were using them in our common conversation. So, as you can see, steel drums, world percussion, world drumming, all of these instruments need to be integrated into the classroom. Music education is underfunded and underappreciated as it is, so I know that it will be a challenge trying to bring an even more expensive and new concept of teaching that some teachers are not familiar with into the classroom. But I know that with the help of funding and this scholarship, I can bring this opportunity to so many students across America. I really hope that you will consider me for this scholarship because I know that I can bring such a great opportunity to these students. Thank you.